So we're going to measure ring and pinion gear backlash in this video. Backlash is the clearance between the ring gear and the pinion gear, and you can see the ring gear moving, you can hear it clanking. Okay, I need to have clearance. If I don't have enough clearance, what's going to happen is as the ring and pinion heat up, it's going to bind, and these parts are going to get into a bind and eat themselves. If it's too loose like this, then what's going to happen is I'm going to get a lot of clunking and whining noises and things like that. And if it's very, very loose, I could start breaking teeth off. So the backlash is an important setting. To do this, I'm going to use this dial indicator. Dial indicators are great for measuring movement and things. This plunger is going to move up and down, and that movement is going to be transmitted to this gauge face and the needle. So this is a pretty good dial indicator, and I'm going to set this thing here to 0, the gauge, by loosening this knob and then turning the gauge face itself. Okay. Normally I wouldn't worry about that before I actually set things up, but I did want to see that you can move that gauge face, so you could set to 0 or to 20 or whatever number it is that you want to set to. This is a magnetic base. I'm going to put the magnetic base on the differential. Whatever parts you're measuring, that's what you want the base on. I wouldn't, if this was in the car, put this base on the body or a suspension component or something like that, because that would allow the base and the dial indicator to move independently of the differential ring gear. And that's what I'm measuring, is this. So put it on the part you're measuring. This is a flexible fixture for the ring gear, or for the dial indicator. And this loop right here is where I can put the dial indicator body and snug that down to hold it all in place. The fixture can be tightened so it doesn't move and it's rigid by moving this handle, or loosened so it's flexible. Loosen it up, put it in the base, thread it down till it's snug. Now I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to set it over here so that it's roughly in line with the ring gear. And then I'm going to tighten that up. If it wouldn't hold position, then I could use this knob right here to tighten this even further to keep this holding position. I'm going to put the dial indicator in and kind of roughly position it, and then snug that loop down on the indicator. Like that. Now I see that it's slipped off, so that means that this isn't holding, so I have to loosen this, tighten that a little bit, put it back into position, and then tighten that handle. Okay, now it looks like it's quit moving. I've got a lot of angle here, and I don't want a lot of angle. I actually want this to be a little flatter, like that, but I also want to make sure that the dial indicator plunger is only contacting the tooth that I'm going to measure off of, and then it doesn't contact a tooth that's next to it. So right there, I can start moving it, and my needle is kind of moving around and not really holding position, and that tells me that this whole assembly is moving. So I'm going to loosen this, tighten this knob even further, place it again, and tighten it. What I want to be able to do is move this and the needle stays in place. It doesn't keep wandering around the gauge face. So right there, everything seems to be tight enough. So at this point, here's my 0, and I could take the needle and I can move the gauge face. all the way around until I'm roughly at 0. I'm going to pull this back, push it forward, and then finish my 0 set. And right there, the needle is roughly 0. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to hold my pinion gear and move the ring gear back and forth. And then measure the amount of movement I have here. And in this case, it looks like it's going from 0 to about 9 thousandths of an inch. That measurement is the backlash. That's the clearance between the ring gear and the pinion gear. I'd compare that to specification, and then I would determine if that was a good value or a bad value. If it's out of spec, then I would do whatever the manufacturer requires to change that pinion setting. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward.